And especially that last part, we're seeing that already. Anybody who doesn't go along with the government hates America, or they're racists, or the rest of it. And I think I'm safe in saying that every one of us out here in the alternative media, you, me, all these other people who are trying to basically say we need to get back to the Constitution, we love America, or we love America as it's supposed to be, and we recognize that we've got this oligarchical, fascistic economic cancer at the heart of America that is taking us down a path we don't want to go down towards what inevitably is going to be collapse or a new world war. And I don't think I want to see either one of them in my lifetime.
I read the synopsis of the show. I didn't have time to watch it. Jason Burmis did watch it, and he said they basically frame Homer in it, and that Mr. Burns was involved in it. And so that's why I'm saying it was conditioning. So they're even throwing it in our face that they're basically framing people. But if somebody else saw the show, you can correct me on it. Unfortunately, I don't have time to watch The Simpsons. Tim, great call. Appreciate the info. We'll be back with Julio, Tim, Shannon, George, and others with the third hour. We've got Oath Keepers coming up in the fourth hour with key breaking news. Mike Rivero's our guest. Stay with us.
He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, we've reached the halfway point in worldwide transmission. We're simulcasting the radio show at prisonplanet.tv. Mike Rivero of whatreallyhappened.com is our guest. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. We're going to continue with your phone calls. Then we're going to do a bunch of key news and societal information coming up in about 20 minutes. But Mike is with us another 20 minutes or so. Coming back, I want to get into this bill because I've had a chance now. It was brought to my attention this morning via email to scan over and read HB 6123 that the Democrats have now got very close to passing the Senate. They have another gun bill that has passed the Senate where if your license expires in Illinois, you get 1 year in prison, automatic sentencing. Okay, and in Illinois, they're saying if someone looks like a gang member but passes the Brady bill, it's a felony if you sell them a gun, and it targets blacks and Hispanics. But notice, that's real profiling. You don't hear people freaking out about that. So we'll be talking about that. This is very serious, and Illinois is the model, as California is, for national victim disarmament. Julio in Illinois, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
No, it's no problem, Alex. A beautiful day in Illinois, and I'm looking forward, as I'm finishing school, to spend my summer with the National Guard in downtown Chicago. I can't wait to be a part of that police state.
That's right. They've announced what Blagojevich announced over a year ago, the military and anti-gun operations. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask about this situation in New York City. I've been glued to the television all weekend watching the propaganda from the Mockingbird media, and just got done seeing Eric Holder and Big Sis, Miss Napolitano on TV talking about how this was a huge terrorist attack. It was a deadly bomb. But hearing you the other day and hearing some people on the news, this was like a phony bomb. It was kind of a pretty bad job.
Oh, they're now calling for registering buying gasoline and propane because everybody could be a terrorist. I mean, if you use a baseball bat, you're a terrorist. And interviewing people going, I'm so scared. I'm scared to go out. I mean, we know whether it's staged, provocateur, or real, the way they're hyping it, that is the psychological terrorism right there to sell the police state. Mike Rivero.
Yeah, absolutely. It almost doesn't matter if it's a real event or staged, as I pointed out earlier in the show. Everybody's going to use everything that happens as an opportunity to push whatever their agenda happens to be. It's like everything that happens, it's raining day. How can I use this to sell my agenda? The bus is late. How do I use this to sell my agenda? Nobody's thinking facts and truth anymore. We're a nation entirely of propagandistic opportunity.
They've divided it 7 ways to Sunday. And it's all about group identity, and then all the groups have their little pimp leaders over them. Republicans, Democrats, whites, Hispanics, blacks. Where is it headed, Mike Rivero?
Well, you're right. They're trying to keep the population badly factionalized and keep us quarreling amongst ourselves, because the instant we all unite and recognize that government itself is the biggest threat to our lives, they have to keep us fighting amongst ourselves, or we're going to start fighting against them. There was a recent poll that came out. I think it was Pew Research. I may be wrong on that. But it basically said 80% of respondents viewed the federal government as the biggest danger to their lives. And so the government...
No, you're right. It was Pew Research, and Gallup and other polls have shown 75 to 81%. So it's all in the 75 or low 80 numbers. And they had other headlines like, now it's cool to hate the government. Now it's mainstream. Now Ron Paul's views are mainstream. It's not that Ron Paul or you or I or Julio hate the government. We hate this illegitimate, unconstitutional government that's violating the law. Why do we have these laws to restrain government? Because our founders had gone through a big, corrupt, pushy government.
You know, it's interesting. Obama did that speech at that university the other day, and he spent a huge portion of it telling these kids, you've got to be polite. You've got to tone down the anti-government rhetoric, because you're just going to build support for the extremists. And he really spent more time on that issue than anything else in his entire speech.
Which shows they're weak. Which shows they're weak.
Exactly.
I want you to finish up with that when we come back. They are panicking. They can be defeated. Stay there. Mike Rivero joins us for one more segment, and he was bringing up the fact that Obama gave his commencement speech. We played some clips of it yesterday. And he said, don't criticize the government. The government is you, the people. So whatever the government does, that's what you wanted. But wait a minute, don't criticize because you're the people, and so you can't criticize the government. That's doublethink. If we're the government, then we have a right to tell the government when it's doing something we don't like or something that's illegal or unconstitutional. And he went on to just, for most of this long speech, say, don't be extreme, don't be rude, be passive, sit down and take it. You know, and then he had that other White House Correspondents' Dinner and made jokes about, this whole event is brought to you by Goldman Sachs. They don't care if you don't like the jokes because they're getting all the money. He made jokes about predator drones killing people, just like Bush made jokes about no WMDs here. Nope, not under there. So this incredible arrogance. Meanwhile, government is running TV ads all over the country. I mean, they have announcements here in Austin every year. And over 10% of Texas has warrants out for their arrest saying, it's roundup time, roundup. You better pay your fines and fees. We're coming to your door. We know where you live. It's roundup. So when they have a real political roundup, people will just say, oh, it's another roundup. But they have these ads. They also have similar ones in England where the government's watching you from satellite. They're God. I covered the Fox News story where all these police chiefs are saying, we wear black masks to intimidate you, to instill sense of fear. So the state is trying to intimidate us so they can rob us. I mean, it's very elementary. This is what happens every other time in history. Liberty and freedom is incredibly rare. It's a jewel that must be protected, as Thomas Jefferson said. And he said, if you let private central banks come in, you will wake up homeless on the continent your forefathers conquered. So I wanted to play this clip of Pennsylvania fear-mongering where the government is like, we're God, we're omnipresent, we know where you live, nice car, nice house, Tom. What's not nice is you, Tom. So again, we're government, we're God, we're the big Skynet above you controlling everything. This is government terrorism. This is Big Brother. This is authoritarian tyranny. Here's the clip.
Your name is Tom. You live just off of 5th Street. Nice car, Tom. Nice house. What's not so nice is you owe Pennsylvania $4,212 in back taxes. Listen, Tom, we can make this easy. Pay online by June 18th, and we'll skip your penalty and take half off your interest. Because, Tom, we do know who you are.
Find us before we find you. PA tax pay-up. Now, imagine the mafia coming to your door and saying, nice car, nice house. We're going to make this easy on you. The condescending voice, the Borg voice. You will be assimilated. Dave, I had to, kill the other astronaut, and now I'm going to kill you. That's the message here, Mike Rivero.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a direct contradiction to Obama's claim that the people are the government, which is complete nonsense. The people have been screaming for years, lower taxes, stop spending money on war, stop giving our money to Israel. The government isn't listening to the people. The Congress that passed TARP proved that. And the bottom line is, you're absolutely right. The biggest terrorist in our lives right now is the federal government. I'm not worried about Osama bin Laden, who's actually dead despite this latest documentary. We're all worried about the federal government. Even the people who've still got the money to pay their taxes, they're worried the government is going to totally destroy the economy and wreck our lives a year from now. It's really reached a point where everybody is very, very concerned about what the federal government is doing. The government does not represent us. And now you've got the president up there saying, please don't criticize us. You're not supposed to do that. I find it hard to believe that Obama was a constitutional scholar or professor, because he seems to have forgotten that the original intent of the First Amendment gives every American citizen the right to stand up and tell the government they're full of it, without fear of reprisal.
No, now they're saying you're the government, so sit down and shut up. Well, if we're the government, then we have a right to speak. This is so elementary. He's expanding secret arrest, torture, wars, and now, like Bush, making jokes about dead people with the drones. This is done on purpose to enrage foreign enemies so that people do actually strike us.